G'day everyone, welcome to your yoga practice with the memo for trimester 1. If we haven't met before, my name is Amy Carmody and it's really nice to have you here. This is a practice that I hope will nurture you through that trimester 1, which I went through not too long ago. I've got 2 little boys myself, and my first pregnancy more so that nausea was just non-stop. And the light-headedness, dizziness, the extreme fatigue, I know that it can be a little bit of a rough yet exciting time. So if you have some props in your home, I'm using a pregnancy pillow here, a couple of blocks, a ball, maybe some little hand weights. We might get to those, but it's always nice to have your things around. And just to ensure that you have clearance from your OBGYN and your doctor to start some movement. So, welcome. Again, this is a practice to support you through a time where you might be feeling a little bit icky, but we really want to connect to that foundational strength that will hopefully carry us through the pregnancy. And of course, we're trying to build and accrue strength for the postpartum period. So, this is the stage where we can do things still, like lie down flat on our back, lay on our tummies, ignite and connect to our core strength. You can still do that during your entire pregnancy, but it will just look different as time goes on. So let's practice. Grab a pillow of some kind. It could be your bed pillow if you're not yet at the pregnancy pillow stage, or maybe you have one from prior. So let's bring the elbows onto the pillow just so that it's a little bit more comfortable to lean back on, and your feet a little bit more forward than your knees, and exaggerate how much your chest can push through your shoulders there. So you get this nice opening through your thoracic. You're engaging the front of your throat to keep your head in line. Your shoulder blades are in what's called retraction. This is your inhale. Then exhale, this nice little nerve stretch in the back of the body. I want you to curl and slump in. Feel your shoulder blades protract and even let your chin come down a little bit. You may get a slight sensation of stretch between your shoulders. And let's just do that a few times. So it's cat-cow in a different format. And we're really isolating it to the upper thoracic rib cage. This is a great alternative to cat-cow if you get sore wrists, especially in the postnatal period, which is unfortunately a thing for some people. So twice more, just preparing the movement of your shoulder blades for practice. Last one in retraction. Feel free to lean your head back slightly, get that nice opening through the front of your body. And then exhale, using your elbows against the ground to kind of open up those shoulder blades behind you. Then find a nice middle ground. So here we have a slight lean back. We're not lying directly flat just yet. We will though. And I want you to have this nice push through your arms to utilize your arm strength. Lean more onto your left elbow to reach your right arm across and feel the left obliques, which are the edge side lateral abdominal muscles that are a part of your core. Reach and slice, feeling rotation occur in your thoracic. Try not to slump in the left shoulder head. Then return, right elbow, lean into it, and slice the left arm across, feeling the fibers of your right obliques shorten. And again, lean into the left, slice the right, but then pick up the left hip. So now, again, another core muscle is your iliopsoas. You're using your hip flexion, but try not to slump into your upper thoracic. As the heel returns, lean onto the right elbow, pour weight onto it to slice the left arm across and pick up your right knee over your hip. Really try and keep that lumbar arch in your spine. So let's repeat left heel, right heel, and then we'll pick it up, but this time let's push the back of the hand into the back of the knee, get that chest nice and open, and push the hand into the knee and the knee into the hand. Can you feel your psoas going, whoa? It's good. We really want a strong psoas throughout our whole pregnancy. And then lean onto the right elbow to slice the left arm across, pick up the right hip, push the back of the wrist into the outer knee and the outer knee into the wrist as hard as you can, And that work in the iliopsoas will also fire up your TVA, your innermost core muscles. Let's go once more, leaning to the left, slicing the right arm, picking up the left hip, pushing the two against each other. But can we also pick up the right heel too? There's an option to stay here, or maybe we push the leg forward in space and bring it back in. You can do that 3 to 5 times, trying to keep yourself lifting in your postural muscles behind you. It's always nice to connect to base strength before we flow. Last one. And then right heel, right elbow. Let's lean to the right, slice the left. Pick up the right knee, push the two against each other. That will activate some deep core muscles. Pick up the left heel and either stay, or 3 to 5 times you can do your psoas push and pull, push and pull. 2 and 1. Well done. Come and flip around. You can put your pillow to the side. Find a quadrupedal position. And even here, practice, and we'll integrate this throughout all the trimesters together. Let your belly relax and fill up like a balloon in a 360 manner, so around your sides and your back as you inhale. Then as you exhale, it feels as if, and baby is only teeny tiny right now, but feel as if you're picking a baby up away from the floor that's in your abdominals, obviously, in your belly. So try that again. So inhale, you get soft, get that 360 breath. Exhale, you feel baby wrap towards your spine, and you can pick up a little bit of a blueberry down at the pelvic floor. So one more, inhale, belly drops. And exhale, feel that wrapping, little lift in the pelvic floor. Step your left toes back and come onto your right fingertips. Push the ground away with your left arm and feel the front of your throat pick up. And pick up your left thigh bone, just enough so that you're in pure hip extension. Your attention is on your left glute and not letting the lumbar arch in your spine increase. You'll have a natural arch. I don't want you to flip into the arch. So let's maintain that as we 10 times tap the ground and lift. Again, with your attention on the left glute, upper hamstring, and maintaining that normal curvature in your spine. So still needing to work your deep TVA. 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the left knee into a hover next to the right and lower down onto your right forearm. Your left elbow will naturally bend 10 times. Fire hydrants with no movement in your pelvis. So I could absolutely go higher if I moved my pelvis, but I only want to isolate it to my outer hip muscles. Got 3 glute muscles, that nice big glute max more at the back, and on the sides we have 2 smaller glute muscles, minimus and medius, really good for hip stability, hip mobility. We just want to ensure that as we get to trimester 2, we're doing everything we possibly can to keep our pelvis and our hips happy. 4, 3, 2, 1. Any stage you get dizzy, feel free to sit back on your heels and take a breath. That was really common for me when I did movement in my first trimester. So let's take left fingertips forward, step right toes back, and again, feel that filling up around your kidney space, lifting baby away from the ground. And again, even though so tiny still now in the first trimester, it's good to begin visualizing and doing that work anyway. So hover the thigh, it's not very high, pure hip extension, and 10 times just recruiting our glute muscles, which build them up now because they absolutely do atrophy in postpartum period with hormonal changes and rest, which is really important. But again, having strong glutes will support your pelvis throughout the pregnancy. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's bring the left forearm down, hover the right knee next to, and you can watch your right knee 10 times, fire hydrant to the side. And again, we're trying to minimize any movement at the waist or the pelvis. So the leg may not get up as high, but that's a good thing. 4, 3, keep your chest open, your head supported. And last 1. Let's flip around now to lay completely on the back, which is great. We can still do this at this stage. We'll start adjusting in the second trimester. Interlace your fingers behind your skull. Just take a moment to, again, find that nice breathing pattern where you feel like you're really filling up the entirety of the abdomen and the thoracic cavity. So let's bring the elbows nice and close together. Inhale. Exhale. Let's curl up off the shoulder blades. Look at the 2 points of your pelvis and the abdominal viscera, the tissue that lives and exists between these 2 hip points and 2 rib points. I want it coming together and feeling it pull down, but please don't mistake that for flattening your spine down. Keep the natural little curve in your back. It's not about changing bone structure, right, or tilting pelvis. It's about feeling the tissues of your TVA come together like glad wrap over a bowl and pulling down, not changing your spine. So let's try that again. Lower your head on inhale, elbows are nice and close. Lift up off your spine as you exhale. Don't tuck your tailbone and don't flatten your lumbar. Feel the abdominals come together and down. And again, inhale, lower. Lift up, exhale, breath. Similar to what we did before, can we rotate slightly to our left and pick up our left hip? This time, right hand pushes the thigh away, but the thigh pulls back into the hand. Ooh, that's deep TVA. 3, 2, 1. Return the hand and the foot. Lower, inhale, breath. And then one more time, let's lift up, exhale. Slight rotation to the right. Pick up your right hip and push with the left hand the leg away, but let the leg pull into the hand. 3, 2, 1, come on down. Your hands can be beside you as your feet not shoved right up towards your pelvis, just keep them comfortably underneath your knees. Lift into this really nice low bridge for me. The reason I'm emphasizing low and not getting your rib cage or thoracic involved is because I want it purely about your glutes, right? So when I add the lift of your rib cage, you'll get your spinal erectors involved, which is not a bad thing. I just don't want it right now. So keep the back of your ribs down, lift very low off the floor, and keep your tailbone like a flashlight pointing up towards your knees. You can even make fists, place them on the bones of your pelvis, and do little pulses, attention on how your feet are connecting to the floor, the hamstrings against the leg bone, and noticing that every time you lift into hip extension, it is your glutes and the upper fibers of your hamstrings doing so. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You'll lie on your side. You can use your hand as a pillow. The thigh bones come relatively maybe 90 degrees, a little less out from underneath you. Get your top hand to push down into the ground, which does help you use a little bit again of that TVA from the center as you open, similar to our fire hydrants, your clams, which are going to be your best friend in pregnancy and postpartum. And it's so great because you can continue to do it even when you've got this big, beautiful belly. And we can even tie a band around. 3, 2, 1. Flip onto your other side. You have 10 clams. So again, use the top hand to push down into the ground just to get that involvement of your center. And the movement is small to purely make it about your outer, smaller glutes. And take your time. Let's make our way up. But this time, grab something like a Pilates ball. You could grab, maybe, you've got another kid around or a dog, maybe they've got a little squishy ball. You could use something that's just going to make it not level. So that could also be a pillow, a drink bottle. You can get creative. So I'm going to put the ball underneath my right hand and have the left hand underneath my chest and step my left toes back. So again, 10 times. Let's extend at the hip. Feel the front of your throat, hold your head up and really push into that unlevel surface of whatever's underneath your hand. Using those muscles we just recruited to help not arch into the back. Once you've done 10 of those, bring your left knee in and step your right toes back now. And as you hold your right toes, maybe come onto the left fingertips. This is a great core exercise that doesn't require you to flex off your abdominals. And aeroplane wing your left arm out in front. Then try and really lift your rib cage away from the ground. 3, little shaky, right? 2, 1. Then left hand back down, right knee back down. Bring your forearm onto the uneven level for your 10 fire hydrants again. And I want that forearm to really push into the ball as best as you can. You could be using a block or your pillow next to you. Keep your rib cage lifted and your pelvis as still as possible. 3, 2, 1. Well done. Let's go to the other side. So now it's the ball a little slightly in front of you. Right hand under your chest. Right toes step back. As best as we possibly can, nasal breathing. Although I remember when I was so nauseous, I'd always blow out through raspberry lips. For some reason it helped. So push down into the ball. Feel your rib cage lift. So using all those postural muscles that will be challenged throughout the pregnancy. Okay, after your 10-1, bring your right knee in. Step your left toes back. Let's hover. Maybe come onto the right fingertips. And you can stay there for sure. And aeroplane your right arm. And you might find that there's a small or a large discrepancy between the two sides. It's okay. Let's hold. Push down as hard as you can. 3, 2, 1. Right hand supports, left knee supports. Let's bring the forearm onto the wobbly surface. Right knee hovers, and 10 times you have your fire hydrants. So it's really nice. I've been a yoga instructor for 13 years, a mobility coach, and a personal trainer. And for the benefit of my clients and myself, I always love to work strength first and then go into all the nice flows and stretches and things that feel nice. But it is good to really tap into that foundational strength that hopefully carries you and supports you through. So let's make our way into a downward facing dog. Your hands come to the top of the mat. Push your arms nice and straight. Tuck your toes, and oftentimes when we're not moving as much in the first trimester, we feel a bit sticky and tight, and that relaxin probably hasn't kicked in much yet. So I want you to push the ground away until your shoulders are reaching up towards your ears, and then pedal your feet out. You'll feel that opening in the hamstrings and the calves, in the lower back. No need to have your heels flat on the ground. You can have nice bent knees, but allow your shoulder blades to glide up your back. Now, with the dizziness, what I find helps rather than walking into a forward fold is come down onto your knees first. Just let your blood pressure adjust, and then stepping one foot and the other foot. So standing at the top of the mat, work throughout your pregnancy in any yoga practice that you might do, whether that's with me or someone else. Work with your pelvis, your feet pelvic distance apart. It's a nice little tip, is have more support around your hip joints. Reach your arms to the ceiling, grab your left wrist, again like down dog, let the shoulder blades glide up. Use your glutes to keep your pelvis level and side bend towards your right little toe. Center to grab the right wrist and side bend towards your left little toe. Reach center, hook your thumbs, and imagine you're pulling the side seams of your body nice and long. Then hinge from your hip joints. And again, just to look after your blood pressure, it might be nice to come into this halfway forward bend and to just sort of slowly shimmy your head out, like you're dropping coins slowly out of the top of your skull, especially if you're prone to dizziness. And this is where you can have a couple of blocks out in front of you, so that you don't have to fold in half and have your head too low, right? Take another full inhale breath. Exhale, empty. Your right toes step back, lower your knee, interlace your fingers behind the back of your skull, and keep your head over your pelvic floor here. Feel the head thread back into your hands, your chest wall open, and your right glute nice and firm to support the structure of your pelvis. Hinge and lean forward. The hinge is what will progress together throughout the trimesters. Now, can you keep that postural awareness? Back knee potentially lifts off the ground. And again, feel your head thread into your hands, engaging the front line, and the use of your glutes to help minimize that deep arch in the lumbar. It's very subtle, right? Then soften into the back knee so that yet again your head is over your pelvis, and enjoy that opening of your rib cage. You might just shimmy right and left, opening into a warrior two position. Your back heel grounds. Lunge into the front leg and pull the thigh bone away from the big toe. You don't have to sit too low, but just enjoy that opening in the inner left leg. As your left arm reaches back into reverse warrior, land your left forearm warrior variation, push into your back heel, and these nice big circles through your right arm, which is nice to lubricate the shoulder and rinse a little through the thoracic. You might do 3 circles one way, 3 circles the other, keeping pressure in your back heel. Right and left hand to the floor for downward dog again. Have a little walk out through your heels. Then take the feet just a little bit wider so heels can lift high. Drop your heels to the right and plie into your knees a few times. Oh, that nice opening down the left side body, right? Push the ground away with your hands. Then keep your feet train tracked like so, but shift into a plank position, right? So it's like a twisted plank. And then we have those oblique muscles. And if you get your inner groins involved by bringing your glutes a little bit forward into extension, you'll get the adductors involved too. Then a little dip of your right hip to the ground. Lift, zip, back up, plank position, knees, and lay down. Now, most of the time, we can still lie down in the first trimester, those first kind of 10 weeks. What tends to feel uncomfortable is the sore breasts. So you might place, again, something like a blanket or a towel, just to make yourself a little bit more comfortable if you're feeling really, really tender. So from here, bring your hands adjacent to your rib cage and your chest, legs along behind you. Feel your glutes firm up so that your hips are fully in extension and there's a slight posterior tilt of your pelvis. Then lift your head and your shoulders, chest off the floor. Keep the back of your neck long though. Left hand lifts higher than the chest wall. Right hand lifts higher than the chest wall. Can we meet that retraction again we did in the very initial position in fish with our elbows on the bolster? So work hard on bringing your elbows up, not your chin up. For 3, for 2, hands pressed to the ground, tuck your toes, and lift into downward facing dog. Full inhale breath. Exhale, empty. Lower your knees down to the floor. And again, these are just little tips I can teach you that helped me. Just get your blood pressure right. You could have a chair next to you helping you, or if there's a little bench, and bring yourself up to standing. Okay. So just support that light-headedness if you're experiencing it. Let's reach up, grab your right wrist and side bend to the left. Center, grab your left wrist and side bend to the right. Hook your thumbs, reach the side seams. You can come into that halfway forward bend. If it feels okay, let yourself fold with really soft knees, nice bent hips, elbows to your shins, and hold the top of your head. Oh, isn't that so nice? You might even rub your fingers through your hairline. Full inhale breath. Oh, let go of any tailbone tension as you exhale. Fingertips to the floor. This time it is your left toes that step back. Lower your knee, interlace your fingers behind your skull, and it's the head on top of the pelvis. Oh, that hip stretch is so nice. If you use your left glute, right, to keep the weight of the pelvis held back, you'll open up that iliopsoas there. Now, keep the head threading back, elbows wide. Find your hinge position over the right hip and maybe come off the back knee, just putting a little bit more demand on your back core muscles, right? So all of those spinal erectors. Keep your rib cage slightly fixed, but your head threading back. Then soften and bend into the back knee. Oh, and then from there you get that nice hip stretch again and maybe a little shimmy through the side waist, which gets really congested as we grow. Warrior two position. So you can lunge into the front leg, pulling the thigh bone. That's coming from your hip, external rotation, and your back hip slightly internally rotates. You do not have to try and square your pelvis to the side unless you're an ex-ballerina. That's probably not so nice for your hips. Keep your pelvis slightly facing down. It's your shoulders that you can square to the side. Doesn't that feel good? Reverse. And then your variation, landing the forearm. Keep the glutes firm behind you, just as you would in a bridge position. It'll offer some stability to the pelvis. Oh, and this is nice lubrication in the shoulder. Yum. Downward dog. Push the floor away. Let's lift the heels high. Shift them to the left, so take them wider if you need. Plie into the legs a few times. So nice. And then let's keep the train track for our little twisted plank. Feel those same muscles that we recruited in the initial core work. Maybe even a little bit of a loop of your tailbone, feeling the inner thighs. A little dip of your left hip. Lift it back up. Full plank. Lower your knees and lay down. Let's thigh bones go long, shoulder heads reach back, and hover your cobra. Hands press into the floor and reach back. Downward facing dog. Take a full inhale breath. Release and empty. Option again to come down onto your knees as I've taught you, or you can stand your feet to the top of the mat. And I find the roll up, see how you go. You can roll up through your spine, but if like me you are very dizzy in your first trimesters, push into a chair position and then stand up. Let's go through this a little bit quicker. So arms reach, fold over your hips, hands to the floor. It is your right toes step back. Rather than dropping the knee, straight away come into your crescent position. Back glute firm and lift your chest up. Warrior two position. Reverse. Warrior variation. One big circle with your shoulder. Then right wrist and right knee land on the floor. Left toes step back behind you. Feel your glutes press forward in space so you have full groin opening, but feel your rib cage pull back as your left arm reaches overhead. Nice side body opening. Two hands to the floor. Cow belly and cat spine. Cow belly, tuck your toes, push your arms straight and strong, lift into downward facing dog. Where again, you can either walk your feet to your hands or come down onto your knees, a little bit nicer on the dizziness, and step your feet up. Or you can roll or press up to stand. Arms reach, fold from your hips, left toe step back, crescent lunge, fingertips to the skull. Use that black glute to support the lift of your chest. Warrior two, keep your rib cage down. reverse. Hopefully this will feel nice on any stickiness you have in the side body. One big circle through the left arm. Hands to the floor. Cow belly, inhale. And cat spine, exhale. Sit back, sitting bones to heels. Come upright. Maybe take one hand to the back of the skull, one hand to the belly. Just take a moment to acknowledge, feel where you are in space. That awareness of your physical body, your energy expenditure, appreciation and respect to how you're feeling. You might change one hand to your chest. Oftentimes, I think in the first trimester, we can give ourselves a little bit of a hard time because we have these ideas in our head of how we wished the pregnancy to unfold. And if motherhood has taught me anything, our plans are sort of, they don't happen really as they do, as you can imagine. So get yourself nice and comfortable. Take a bolster or a pillow of some kind. Again, these prenatal pillows are awesome. And you can cuddle that however you wish. I really love a nice chest opening. So take that little pillow behind the back of your shoulder blades, similar to where we had our elbows, right, before. Interlace the fingers behind the back of your skull and let your head rest into your hands. And then legs nice and long. So that subtle opening again in the chest, in the intercostal tissues. If you feel more comfortable lying on your side, you could take one rib cage for 10 breaths, reaching an arm over and focusing on the side body again, and rolling over 10 breaths, doing your other side. Or if you feel more comfortable to sit upright, please feel free to do so. Again, honouring the foundational strength we want to continue tapping into throughout the whole pregnancy. A nice little flow for the shoulders and the side body. I hope that helped. And just look after yourself in terms of dizziness. Practice with, benches around or chairs. Instead of rolling and bringing your head up too fast, just go really, really nice and slow. Thanks for practicing with me. It was so nice to have you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at any point. And I'll see you soon.